you would have noticed this spat between India and Canada, which has taken place. It's got many business owners, people who have children studying in the US, studying in Canada, a little worried what's going to be the future, because then now you're talking about sanctions, you're talking about Five Eyes. So those who are doing future planning, business houses which are doing future planning of trading with India, with America, with the Five Eye countries, they're a little concerned. Which way is this going to go? So tell me how you see this.
One of the many things I think the world needs to understand about India is you have to do what is right for your country. And the alliances you have with the US, with Canada, with Europe, also with other players such as China and other parts of the world, you've got to do what is in your national interest and your national direction. And so I view the issue in Canada as an issue between India and Canada in a transaction. Now, it's an interesting transaction, but it's about national integrity and what was really important to India's future. While I think people watch that, what you see is almost the reverse around the world. India is becoming the country that many people look to align with. I was in a small country called Guyana, down in northern Latin America, and the president said, "John, I'm thinking about getting dramatically closer to India, and Prime Minister Modi is coming here in not too distant future." He was so excited. And I didn't tell him that I knew him at that time. I said, "Well, why are you excited?" He's a visionary. It's a country that I trust, and we have huge oil reserves, and they have 40% diaspora from India. So what I'm sharing with you is for those people that might see that occurring, it will be a give and take on views between Canada and India. I think it's important the US stay out of that and other countries stay out of it, and they'll work through it. There are going to be times when friends disagree. There are times even when my wife and I disagree. She's usually right. But that doesn't mean you won't have a good long-term relationship. So the people that ask you that question, I would say that's a transactional question. Important to Canada on some issues, very important to India's national integrity and trust, and that the two countries work it out.
Mukesh, I'll take that question to you, and especially because you worked in India too. You know how you were with IBM, you've worked in India, you've seen how everybody gets a little antsy when these things happen. And, you know, I mean, everybody knows that there's no way that Canada could have done this without America being on board. So it's a little worrying.
Well, you have to understand that it's a domestic political issue which is percolating into a state relationship between Canada and India. And I strongly believe Trudeau, with his 19% approval rating, is trying to appease the National Democratic Party to stay in power. And with the election coming soon, the odds are that he will not get re-elected, but he still wants to hold on to that position itself. And leveraging NDP is critical for his staying in power. So I think, I would say that as things transition in Canada, this will die away. As far as US goes, yes, US-Canada have a very strong relationship, but you got to understand, business people, business leaders are responsible to their shareholders. They look at what is good for the business itself, and they see India as a partner from a global perspective, not only from de-risking from China, but also looking at India as a market opportunity. So I don't think you should see this percolating down into India-US relationship. You should not see that US investors will stop investing in India. I think the market opportunity is tremendous. So I think with time, this will die away and we'll forget about it also.
How do you deal with emotional issues? With facts. How do you deal with factual issues? With emotion. Let me deal with this one with facts. We just came out of a meeting at USISPF. We had many of the top corporations in America and India represented there. Almost everyone in the room is increasing their commitment to India. Almost everyone in the room is working with India on multiple fronts. Your leaders in India are able to outline a vision of where the country is going to go. There's consistency in the programs. Only the third time in 40 years, first time in 40 years where somebody has a third administration that can make a difference. Continuity, predictability is very key. Not only pro-business, pro-democracy in the direction. The standard of living for the young people and all citizens here in India will be the fastest growing in the world over the next decade and maybe for the next century.
Click here to watch the full episode.